All right, everybody, those are the victory drums, and they sound for the Black Beast. Derrick Lewis only needs 35 seconds, plays a little possum, and stops Tallison Teixeira to add to his all-time record knockout number. Derrick Lewis does it again. The celebration was classic Derrick Lewis. The post-fight interviews, classic Derrick Lewis. And the Black Beast gets it done as we welcome you to the UFC Nashville post-fight show. I am Mike Heck, and joining me to react to a pretty fun night in Music City, USA, the one, the only, Jed Meshew. There he is.
Hey,
hello,
guys.
Jed.
Hey, that was really fun, Mike. Like, I know that we are not always like the most animated or excited, or maybe some of this is had a little bit of distance, you know, what with the July 4th weekend off, that always helps, right? Some of it is, and maybe we'll even get some questions about this at the end of the show, that the boxing event last night, well, not bad, was a bit of a slog for parts of it, and certainly at the end of the night. And this was just all killer, right? Like, there's nothing super wonky on this. Like, just looking up and down the card, I know you haven't done the rundown of it, like, couple of things that you could just not have cared about, like if we just chucked them off, you know, the smoke break fights of the card. But this was just nothing meaningful. We sort of talked about this in BTL this week. I know you guys talked about it a little on previous show. Like, not a huge amount of stakes here. Like, this is not a card that if we had an open weekend, we would be pouring over for weeks and weeks here. But it's just a damn fun time. Some good storylines, some interesting outcomes here. And I just had a pretty rocking Saturday night, man. So I'm pumped to be here. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, it was a very fun card. It got started off with Fatima Klein doing the Leon Edwards head kick knockout. Pretty nasty stuff, which your fantasy team
Hell yeah.
reaped
Fatima.
the benefits of that. You also reaped the benefits of Morgan Charrier, who gets bonus money as well.
Though Morgan Charrier hurt my feelings. That was tough, but he got bonus money.
Fight of the night, and Fatima Klein got one of the performance bonuses.
Let's go, Michael. Let's go. I thought, Derek, like we were talking about it in Slack, I felt really good. Like during the Fatima Klein fight, I was like, cool, I'm gonna get the dub, no extra points. All of a sudden, I was like, that's a 200 ball right there for fantasy, easy dub. And then when Charrier did it, I was like, sick. I'm going to leave tonight with 400 points. And then suddenly Derrick Lewis killed a man. I know that that's sort of a wonky stoppage that already people in the chat about will talk about it. But, you know, 30, I think it's his fastest knockout in his career or second fastest. It's Derrick Lewis. He's very popular. He was certainly going to get a bonus. And so I was like, Derrick Lewis may have cost me there, but we'll take that fight of the night bump. Let's go, boys.
Yes, Derrick Lewis did not get a bonus, actually. Mr. Heel Hook himself, Walter Walker, gets the other performance bonus.
I actually think that's probably right, but we can get into that in the weeds. Like, if you're at like the most, you know, merit-based, that feels the most correct to me.
We'll get into the meaning and some stakes, which perhaps there might have been more than maybe some anticipated heading in. But you mentioned the stoppage and all of that, so I might as well just ask you, were you okay with the stoppage in the main event?
I think it's a bad stoppage. I'm okay with it though. There are people in the chat, because I popped into the chat here before we went live, just sort of lurked around a little bit, wanted to seeing a lot of the chatter, the chit chat happening on the Twitter machine, Mike. And I think people are just like really confused about the rules and like what is and isn't allowed. Because a lot of people are out here propagating, look, he grabbed the fence, so the fight's over. And that's not remotely the rules. Like, he cheated, yes. And so like theoretically, if Jason Herzog wanted to stop the fight and say, you cheated, you're disqualified, he could have done that. But there's no like, you know, clause in the rules. It's like, if a fighter is getting knocked, like is about to get knocked out and then they cheat, then that's the catalyst to say TKO, fight's over. That's not how it works. Tallison Teixeira absolutely cheated, like 100% used that fence to climb back to his feet. But that's is kind of meaningless in the circumstances of whether the fight should be stopped. You are determining whether that fight should be stopped on his ability to defend himself. And pretty clearly, he had turned to face Derrick Lewis and was on his own 2 feet. I don't think that makes a huge difference. I think Derrick Lewis probably just gets a more brutal finish in the coming moments, but also like, especially because Tallison then like kind of pushes Jason Herzog, doesn't seem to have it all together. Think we got the right winner. I'm not saying that Tallison Teixeira was robbed, in some massive way, but there's a non-zero chance that Tallison survives that, and then Derrick Lewis is stone cold gassed and Tallison wins that fight. And I don't think that was a good stoppage, but it's not a stoppage anyone's gonna really care that much about it, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, I mean, I was confused too when it first happened, because Derrick looked like he was about to sort of body Tallison with just whipping him up against the fence or whatever. And then Herzog just stopped it. I don't know if like he was going to call a foul on Derrick, which would have been really weird. So I was a little confused that it was stopped at that time. I don't have a huge issue with it. We've seen way worse stoppages. And again, Herzog's sort of in a position, do I stop the fight and take a point? Which you can't do in that situation. He just made a split second call. It's not.
You don't have to stop the fight and take a point. He can just sort of like let the fight continue and take the point after the fact.
Or he can just take it while it's happening and not stop the action.
Yeah, you should be like, I'm gonna take the point or whatever, and then you can go through the pro forma of it afterwards. But like, again, it's silly to be like, that's it. Like somebody in the chat is like, yeah, he cheated, so that's the end of the fight. Like that's just not the rules. That you can want that to be the rules. I want many things to be the rules, but that's not how this works. And so it's a bad, I don't think that it's really defensible to call it a good stoppage, but no one cares. And it's not bad because the overwhelming likelihood is just we were just going to get a Derrick Lewis win. And this, moved it along a little bit. But like, if you're being a reasonable person looking at this, like, yeah, Tallison Teixeira was still doing the act of defending himself as is traditionally defined in the sport. And sure, he cheated, but those are not linked ideas. So it's a bad stoppage that no one cares about. And no one needs, I'm also not saying we should care about this. So we're very clear. I'm not out here banging the drum that Jason Herzog is a bad ref. I don't think he's a bad ref, though he's getting worse. He's making more questionable mistakes than he used to do. But like, we could just call balls and strikes here. Like, we don't have to pretend that was great because I don't know, whatever reason. Like, it was a bad stoppage. Bad stoppages happen all the time, and the rightful man still won the fight. So it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah. Right before we jumped on, I was like, how much of a big deal do I want to make out of the stoppage? And my thought was, I'm going to ask one question about it. We're going to move on because it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. I don't think the stoppage changes anything. You know what I mean? It just would have happened probably 10 seconds later is the way I would have looked at it. And that's fine. So yeah, good win for Derrick Lewis. And let's talk about the meaning and the stakes behind it. There is a very real world where Derrick Lewis is getting a title fight after this win. Is he not?
That'd be funny as hell.
I mean, especially with this
you have been, I want to shout you out here, Mike, because you've been beating this drum like nobody's on this corner. This is not some shit where like some Johnny come latelys could be here. Like, you have been standing alone
for a year,
the lone man atop this hill with a megaphone and a dream, and a lot of people being like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And you're like, Derrick, you are the meme of the man standing up in the room boldly saying the insane thing. And that insane thing is Derrick Lewis is one fight away from fighting Aspinall. And we talked about it on BTL. And you asked, and I was like, I mean, maybe, if somebody falls out and they need to drop somebody in, Derrick Lewis is popular, maybe. And I got to tell you, I am thinking it's way more likely than I was giving it credit for 5 days ago. I'm still not willing to say he's getting it, but I would have been surprised like last week and now I'm like, yep, if that happens, man, it happens. One, the whole post fight is just the most ludicrous and charming, insane thing. That's maybe it was the most Derrick Lewis thing. He went full Derrick Lewis, which was unbelievable, just cinema, frankly, to watch. Does his traditional Black Beast celebration, takes the pants off, which is now his other traditional celebration. He's just adding new wrinkles to every time. Suddenly, every Derrick Lewis KO is going to have like 15 actions afterwards as he does a new thing. This time, he went over to Teixeira's corner, lifted his leg up like a dog on a friggin' fire hydrant, stamped his feet around, threw his shorts and his cup into the crowd, just full-blown psycho Derrick Lewis. And the crowd ate it up. Nashville couldn't get enough of this man. Talked to the president, apparently. Like, who's going to be shocked if suddenly they're like, hey, Derrick, we want to have some, you know what? We want to make the heavyweight division fun again. John sucked all the fun out of heavyweight for a year. Tom versus Derrick Lewis. Let's get Tom over. Let's have ourselves a good time whenever that fight comes up. Oh, man, that seems very, very possible right now.
I love it. I think
you should love it.
Somebody.
This should be somebody. This is your greatest accomplishment in this industry. You were the only man. And God damn it, if you might not be just dead on.
I might win on to the next one forever.
Yes, 30 odd no points. The riches you will have of odd no points from this. No man could ever. Jeff Bezos wishes he could buy that many odd no points.
Yes. I'm looking at notes from Dana White at the press conference because he was at the press conference. White said that after the fight, Derrick Lewis asked where President Trump was. White said that he wasn't in attendance but was watching and then got him on the phone to speak to Derrick. So that did happen. White says he felt the stoppage in the main event was a little fast, but it is what it is. And
that's
apparently no one asked
that's
about
the exact right take.
Yeah.
So we're clear. That's the exact right take. Stoppage a little bad. Who cares? Yeah. That's the only right take.
If you're Dana White right now, especially as a man who feels Cyril Gane did not even beat Alexander Volkov in his last fight and was very vocal about it, made it a point to get out of his seat after that fight, go up to Volkov and tell him you won. You got to be feeling like, oh, if we're doing Cyril Gane, like, let's just do Derrick Lewis right now. He's 40. So if you're going to do it, like, just do it now. Who, at this point, give Derrick the shot. He'll be fun. He'll say funny things. And he'll lose to Tom Aspinall. But what if he doesn't? What if he somehow nukes Tom Aspinall and wins the freaking title?
So chaotic.
Unbelievable.
It would be incredibly chaotic if he does that. One, John's coming back immediately. If Derrick killed Tom, John is
back by December.
If Derrick kills Tom, I mean, no, he won't, because then John will fight Derrick Lewis at UFC White House. Like that's they would just slow burn that. I learned a thing that today about Derrick Lewis that I didn't really know, and it's how over he is. And I knew he was popular, right? Like I knew he was popular, but talking to this girl who knows what I do, right? But like, you know, doesn't know to like knows about fighting, knows some stuff and certainly knows what I do, is asking me like, oh, what are you doing tonight? Working, covering the fights. Oh, who's fighting? I just was like Derrick Lewis and Tallison Teixeira. No belief that you'll know. It's like, oh, I love Derrick Lewis. He's the balls is hot guy, right? He's hilarious. And like, if you're that over with generic, like Georgia white girl, like you are over. You're over with people, you know? And so like, there's nobody else right now. You can't do, they don't want to do Cyril Gane. Like, sure, maybe you're supposed to, but no one will be upset if you don't do Gane. I mean, Pavlovich just lost to Aspinall. Like, if Waldo Cortez Acosta does what's the Street Fighter move where they do the backflip and it kicks the like bolt of lightning out of them at people? If he literally does that to kill Sergey Pavlovich, or like pulls out a stone, like a Super Saiyan Goku Kamehameha to launch Sergey Pavlovich out of the cage, okay, Waldo Cortez Acosta gets it. But anything other than that, like no one cares. And so you're going down the line. It's like, it's Jailton Almeida, it's Derrick Lewis. People are going to be more pumped about Derrick Lewis, even though he'll almost certainly get obliterated within 2.5 minutes. but like, you're right. He's gonna do it. I can't
do
believe
it.
how right you were.
They should just did it right away. Like, just get Tom out there. Just give him bodies to fight. And Derrick Lewis is a terrific choice with the options you have in front of you right now. So I'm just going to give it away. That will absolutely be my Otno pick. There is no other pick. I might just end the show right after that. So yes, Derrick Lewis might just have found himself an undisputed title fight after beating 8-0 Tallison Teixeira in the main event of UFC Nashville, which is crazy to say out loud, but not surprised, MFers.
I'm sorry, that's ranked Tallison Teixeira, who beat a Tafa brother to get the number 13. I also want to pull this up because I want to make sure. One, Derrick Lewis was a freaking quote machine in his post-fight speech, which rocked. Like, everything he said was just a banger. I was doing our live blogs and I tried to get as many of them down as I possibly could because they were all just frankly delightful. But two of them, the one that people I think are mostly going to remember is when Daniel Cormier is like, what's next for you? And he's like, my wife. I've been gone for 2 weeks. Gonna give her some good old fashioned ground and pound. Everyone's like, but that's like a classic Derrick Lewis being a bit bawdy and funny. The one that got me is he's out there, he's talking like, it's like, why, Derrick, why did you go to the corner and pretend like you were a dog, marking your territory? It's like, I can't speak Portuguese. I know for sure they were talking shit about me. He's like, his whole corner is talking shit about me. I mean, I can't speak Portuguese, so I don't know, but I know, so fuck them. And then just like, and then Cormier was like, hey man, like, you said all week that you thought it was too soon. And Derrick Lewis just, with maybe one of the best quotes of all time that people won't think about, but it's just like perfectly sums up the UFC in 2025. Man, I knew he'd been fighting tomato cans his entire career, so I appreciate the UFC helping me out. I need some more taxi cab drivers like they got back there for my next fight. Like, just saying the quiet part out loud. This motherfucker came off freaking Contender Series, beat a Tafa brother, and they're like, he's the truth. Put him in there. Let's run him up for a title fight. I've been doing this a long time, and I just beat his ass. But let me keep fighting these Contender Series heavyweights that y'all think are the next big thing. I could make a good living doing that. Shout out to Derrick Lewis forever, man. What an unbelievable effort.
What Derrick Lewis might have done tonight was made swing rounds the most superstitious thing of all time. Because if Derrick Lewis gets a 35-second knockout win and then a title shot after playing 9 holes of golf with your boy here, just line him up. Justin Gaethje should just play golf with me immediately. All this guy wants is a title fight. That's all he wants in this whole world is a friggin' title fight. So Justin, hit me up.
This would be a really, really good gimmick, honestly. Like, if you could make that happen, and then you could get people who who don't play golf, right? Like, think about like a few years ago, you could have been like, Leon Edwards, I know you don't play golf. You should come play golf with me. Like, that's how we'll Bilal. Let's swing the sticks for a while. You need to get there. Benny Dariush, I know you don't even want a title fight. You want to fight 30 more times, but come on. Like, this would be an incredible gimmick.
I'm doing it. That will be the gimmick moving forward. So congratulations to Derrick Lewis, who gets it done and is getting a damn title shot. I feel it. I'm willing it into existence. It's been a year, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep willing it into existence. So let's go to the co-main event, Jed Meshew. Gabriel Bonfaim versus Stephen Thompson. And Wonderboy was a pretty sizable underdog in this fight. I just pulled back the curtain. I bet a lot of underdogs tonight. I bet Derrick Lewis. That paid off well. I bet Wonderboy. I'm a little salty about that one. The other bet that I hit, which was the biggest bet I placed tonight, was Calvin Kattar, Steve Garcia going the distance at plus 195.
Oh, that's wow. Wow. I straight up dropped the ball and I placed one bet tonight, cashed, talk about it in a minute. But I didn't do any that was a gift. Yeah. Calvin Kattar's not gonna die.
Yeah. Even on the broadcast, they had the DraftKings one at plus 180. I'm like, I got a better number than that. Yeah, it was just a beautiful thing because it got a little hairy, but it all worked out great. But Gabriel Bonfaim wins a split decision against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. It seems like the MMA community, I scored it for Wonderboy, and it's not even because I had a bet on him. 29-28. I thought he clearly won the second round because he kicked Gabriel Bonfaim in the face with a split open shin, which was gnarly as hell. And then I thought he did enough to win the third round because, yes, Gabriel Bonfaim had some takedowns and had some control time, but he didn't do anything. And Wonderboy at least hit him a couple of times in that round. So I thought he won. Again, not the worst decision I've ever seen, but it was one of those ones where I was like, ooh, I don't necessarily agree. So your thoughts, how did you score that fight?
So I scored it for Stephen Thompson as well. I gave Bonfaim the first round, and I gave Thompson the back two. It's pretty close to a robbery. I don't think it's particularly the way it went, but it's not quite a robbery. It's just a competitive fight. I will say the only bet I had on this card was a bet on Bonfaim. I did not climb this week, but like I was just kind of today I was looking at, because I just didn't do enough research, and so I passed on this whole week functionally. I was like, I don't know, I probably would feel pretty decent about climbing with Bonfaim just in the dark without really digging in. So I was like, I'll throw $100 on Bonfaim just to like sim it. It won't actually be a real thing. And I just thought that money was gone. I was like, cool, I lost $100. I would have wanted to throw myself into traffic if I had been climbing there, but apparently I got super lucky anyway. Did not see, actually want to pull up MMA decisions because I haven't done this yet. I did not see almost any Bonfaim cards on Twitter. Not saying there weren't any. There were two.
Danny Segura scored it for Bonfaim. That was the only one I saw.
Yeah, me and Danny don't often agree on things. Everybody else. One person scored it 30-27. I'm not going to say who because it's not a person. That's bad.
30 Bonfaim? What?
Correct. You can go look it up. It's a media outlet that we may share an overlord with.
Oh God.
Not their best work. Not their best work right there. But I will also say that looking at, because I people online I saw were saying like you can't score the third round for Bonfaim. I actually disagree. I think you can. I didn't. I scored it for Thompson. Again, I scored it for Thompson with money on Bonfaim. But I don't think you can score the second round for Bonfaim.
No.
Like the biggest thing that happened in the second round in favor of Bonfaim is Thompson cut open his shin on a checked kick. And sure, like that happened, but how damaging, it's damaging. There's a cut there. He bled, but he kept kicking with it. And moments later, like nearly got him out of the cage with that. So like, not at all. I will say I did, and this is certainly not definitive. We say this all the time. I just pulled up UFC stats as well. So, because I don't think Bonfaim got enough credit that he actually had some success striking early in the round before he went full blown. I'm just going to hold him around the waist. And so statistically, he did have 10 significant strikes landed versus just 7 from Stephen Thompson. He had, 2 takedowns, which I know that technically those counted as takedowns. There's no, like, he didn't establish a position. They were mat returns functionally. That third round, I favored Thompson because whether I mean to or not, and you're not supposed to, I like to give credit to people who don't get taken down when the opponent is selling out to do that. I think that is fair and just, and I think that probably seeps in, even if it's not what you're supposed to do. But neither man really, like, that's a round where I would be a lot more comfortable just giving it a 10-10 because neither man did any like real offense. They clinch fought for a long time.
Yeah, it's like I said, I've seen way worse. But yeah, I guess the good news is, and Dana White apparently said the same at the press conference, is that Stephen Thompson is not cooked at all. He's just fine, even being the oldest fighter on the roster right now. I can't say the same for probably the next gentleman we're going to talk about. But yeah, man, I thought he was beating Joaquin Buckley until he didn't. And I thought he won this fight. And now he's got one fight left on his deal. So we'll see what comes of it. Dana said, yeah, hope he comes back and keeps fighting. So you don't hear Dana say that a lot about guys who are in their 40s and have lost back-to-back fights, or not 3 straight for Thompson, I believe. So he's like, yeah,
Stephen
he looked great.
Thompson's not cooked at all.
Not at all.
I didn't think he was cooked coming into this because, like you, I thought he was beating Buckley until he wasn't. And sometimes Joaquin Buckley hits you and you die. That's just a thing. Like, Kamaru Usman almost got hit and died by Joaquin Buckley. Like he hits real hard, and that is the way that Stephen Thompson will look bad in two ways. Either a really good grappler is just going to run his ass out of the cage. Bilal Muhammad, Shavkat Rakhmonov, quick work. He was never the best defensive wrestler anyway. And if you have like a really good offensive grappler who can establish position and threaten quickly, that has been effective against him for his entire career functionally. The other way that's going to get him is he is 42. He's old. His reactions still good. His timing good. He's slowed down. And if you could just land one big punch, Bonfaim cracked him a couple of times in there. And, he's not like the world's greatest striker, though he's, pretty solid in that regard. If you get a big hitter who just lands one, they can Buckley him. But I think we should just sort of reevaluate where he is, because look at his run right now. It's Bonfaim, who's going to be ranked. It's Joaquin Buckley, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Kevin Holland, which he won, Bilal Muhammad, Gilbert Burns. That's the most recent. That's since 2021, right? That's just all hitters. He's a 42-year-old man. I know he's got a number next to his name. They should just remove him from the rankings just to do it, so we don't have to do the, hey, let's have him fight the next young guy thing. Have him just have some fun out there, because he can still compete at a very high level. As AK says, I think maybe we should look a little closer towards age-appropriate matchmaking. You don't have to. You don't have to exclusively do that for him, but you just don't need to run him in against a murderer's row of people, because his title aspirations are over, but he can still be really competitive, really good against good, fun, interesting dudes. And Daniel Rodriguez versus Stephen Thompson. I think I'm favoring Stephen Thompson over that, because I'm still to this day going to favor him in a striking matchup over most people, because he's historically proven to be extremely difficult for people to figure out how to fight him, so just have some fun with him. He doesn't need to retire.
I asked him when I spoke with him a few days ago, I said, if you have made the decision, you're like, hey, I'm going to go fight these two, and then I'm going to go to the broadcast booth, and that will be my role at the UFC moving forward, which he seems okay with. If you could choose your last opponent realistically, who would it be? And of course, he's going to say, well, of course I would want to fight the champion, but being realistic, Carlos Prates, that's who he wants. If it's his last fight, he wants to fight Carlos Prates. I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to go out on my shield. He's going to go out on his shield. We're going to just kick each other and punch each other a bunch, and whoever wins, wins. And he would be happy with that.
I mean, if he wants to do it, that's fine. That is at least a little more. I think Prates will kill him, which makes me a little more concerned. I think, Prates will, Thompson will have some moments, but eventually his chin will get tagged. And when Prates hits you, you're going to die. So that's concerning. But if he wants, he's a grown ass man. He can do what he wants, and that's okay. My concern is if Dana's out here saying I hope he comes back and keeps fighting, I don't know if we'll be saying that if you feed him to Prates. So maybe let's get him a win. He's won one fight in his last 7. Before we do the Prates thing, re-sign him and let's get him a win. Something he can do. I don't know, you're a matchmaker, Mike, but just give him a layup. Let's have him get a W again, and then we can do Prates.
I just don't know. The thing with Wonderboy is one
RDA. RDA could be bad, but
RDA was watching RDA fight Jeff Neal in October was sad. It was very, very sad.
Does RDA still fight anymore? That's a good question.
Well, he fought Jeff Neal on that at UFC 308, and he got dusted and got badly injured in that fight. Yeah. So he hasn't fought since then.
Let me take a look at the welterweight situation right now and figure out where we need to go. Let's just scroll right on down to the middle section. Little worse because he just lost. Chidi and Njokuani lost tonight. He could win that fight. Has Stephen Thompson, has this ever happened? Oh my God, I found it. Let me make sure I'm not missing it. Give
him Nico Price.
No. Oh, that's really, if we're really doing it. No, man. You got to do the, God damn it, he's booked. Why is Neil Magny fighting somebody not named Stephen Thompson? How have these two not fought before, by the way? Why are we doing this? He's fighting per Tapology Elizeu Zaleski.
Oh, that's right.
Easy DS.
Because he was supposed to fight Gunnar Nelson, and then yeah, that's right. All right.
But like,
Give him El
honestly,
Chrono.
we well, Gunner probably just tackles him and actually
Yeah, I
does.
wouldn't
So
do
let's not
Gunner.
do.
I do
Oh,
Morono,
Ponzi
Nico.
scheme. Ponzi scheme. Let's
Yeah,
go.
sure.
Ponzi scheme's great.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, like
A
any of
few
those. Let's just
knees.
have a little bit of fun with him. You know.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Wonderboy's just such an interesting case. One, because he's not washed. We're not concerned watching him fight. And two, he doesn't need to fight at all. He just does it because it's fun. Like, he doesn't make a living off of fighting. It helps that he fights and he's been around and has fought for belts and probably makes some decent checks fighting, but that's like not his full-time job. He runs the karate school and does all that. He's got a whole bunch of sponsorship deals and all that jazz. So yeah, man. And then he'll be on the desk most of the time when he does call it a career. So yeah.
It's a great point. It's the thing I really like because I think about it all the time for other sports, particularly like non-contact sports, right? Like, I just think like if I was Roger Federer, I would have never retired. Because it'd be like, yeah, sure, I'm no longer going to win majors or whatever, but I still just like to play tennis. And I don't know, like if I go play tennis at my local club, is that going to be as fun as like playing competitive tennis? It's the same as like, sure, I'm not a competitive athlete anymore, but like I play in rec leagues or intramurals around the city or whatever. But you're just doing it on a bigger stage with like better opposition. You do like why should LeBron ever retire? He could play until he's 55 if he wants to just like Vince Carter it, come off the bench like the bench for 12 minutes a game and just be like, all right, cool. Like, why wouldn't you do that? And if you're a fighter, the time is, well, my physical well-being is just going to deteriorate to a point. But like you said, like, I don't think that's the case for Wonderboy. At least not now. Eventually it will be, but like, just go out and have some fun, you know, just enjoy this thing that you spent your life doing because eventually you won't be able to do it anymore. And I hope he get like Dana. I hope he resigns and we get to keep doing this for a little while longer.
Yeah. We got to do a timeout here. The
Yeah.
spamming.
I was about to grab him, so
Yeah,
good work.
I got him. So Stephen Thompson, not cooked. Is Calvin Kattar officially cooked? Are we there now? That was tough. That was tough to watch.
He's lost 5 in a row. Again, a lot of really good opponents in there, and by a lot I mean exclusively really good opponents in there. Yeah, he's cooked though. And this is the one like I actually want Calvin Kattar to retire. I don't think that's what's going to happen. In fact, I think there's like a really solid chance Calvin Kattar is fighting Jeremy Stevens and BKFC in the not too distant future or whatever. But the problem with Kattar is Kattar seems washed and Kattar's too tough for his own good. And so it's just like this is a really macabre way to put it, but like end of career Muhammad Ali when he clearly wasn't Ali anymore, but he still has like an all-time legendary chin and you're just seeing him get like literally get the life beaten out of him. Like that's we're verging on that cuz Kattar is so goddamn tough and durable. And that just means instead of getting one shot and falling over and being done, he's taken how many strikes? Let
Over
me look at
100.
old UFC stats here and see. 85 significant strikes per UFC stats. Total strikes, I don't know, something, but like a billion. So 85 significant strikes. He probably didn't need to take those, but he's too damn tough. So I would really like to see Calvin Kattar hanging up after that. 5 in a row. At any point in time, if you lose 5 fights in a row, I think you should retire. That's my new official policy. 4 fights, you might come back because we've seen Andrei Arlovsky do it. It's one of the many reasons he's the GOAT. But five is a bridge too far. Hang it up. And he may, but he's almost certainly going to end up in BKFC. Their $25 million tournament or whatever.
Yeah, again, he's not a guy who needs to fight. He's got a lot of irons in the fire. He just likes to compete. If he's going to fight again, do the Edson Barboza fight, and let's just call it a day. Like 2 dudes who are up there, who are on the, as you like to say, the well-done side of cooked. Let's just throw them in there. Double retirement fight, and let's call it a day. You know what I mean? I understand Steve Garcia is a fine fighter, but Cal just looked real slow out there. He did land some shots. He fought like a guy who just didn't want to get knocked out tonight. And that's just not typical.
For your bet. That's great.
Yeah, it was great for my bet, but I was waiting for him to go full knucklehead and just go out in a shield, and just never came. So yeah, man, we'll see what happens. It doesn't seem like he's going to retire. Doesn't strike me in that way. I wonder if the UFC just says future endeavors him. But
yeah, I honestly wouldn't. Like, on the one hand, he's still ranked, right? He's 14, though this will be the end of it, I would guess.
Unless they put him at 15.
Dude, he's lost 5 in a row. And I know it's all to ranked people, but 5, you got to win a fight at some point in time, you know? They should. Frankly, they should. I'm sure he costs some money. There's about to be a contender series. Let him go to BKFC. I don't want him to go to BKFC, but he'll land on his feet in that regard. I mean, you're absolutely right, because they're going to put him in front of Giga Chikadze, who's currently the number 15 dude. So dope. He's still going to be ranked, which is wild.
Yeah, because he beat the hell out of Giga Chikadze. He changed Giga Chikadze's.
Yeah, effed them all up.
Yeah. So, but go in for Steve Garcia, man. Steve Garcia is a large fucking featherweight.
I guess theoretically they could put Morgan Charrier in a, you know.
They could.
They could bump them both. I don't know. Yeah, somebody noted that in our Slack. Steve Garcia, big fella in there, and on a hell of a run, man.
Yeah, 6 in a row. Knockout streak ends at 5. He almost got Cal out of there. That was a great performance from Steve Garcia. I mean, it was not a competitive fight. So he's very good. He's going to be ranked. He called for an Apex main event, just thinking realistically.
I thought it was perfect, man.
So did me too.
He caught a little bit of flack from some people online, and I was like,
I thought it was perfect.
I don't know what you guys are thinking. Like, do you think Steve Garcia is in a position to be like, I want to main event UFC Kentucky or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
no. Rodriguez. No,
yeah, like he's not gonna get that. But like, what he can say is like, hey, Mick Maynard, Sean Shelby, I'll carry that water, man. I want to main event, which is still a step up for him. It's a big move, even if it is the Apex. I want a main event, and I'll fight you. I'll give me any of these tough dudes, right? Yusuf Zalal, who's trying to fight Yusuf Zalal, boring ass dude that he is. Like, I'll fight Yusuf Zalal. David Onama. Like, I'll fight these dudes in an Apex main event. Like, that's incredibly realistic. Honestly, I'll be surprised if he doesn't get it, given the run he's on. And like, that's, it's always a tough game to curry favor with the UFC. They can be so capricious with when they return them, but like, I think it was perfect, man. I thought it was really well done from him.
Great fight between Morgan Charrier and Nate Landwehr. Morgan gets him out of there, goes full cycle round 3.
That fight took 2 days off my life. When I'm on my deathbed, I will look at my grandchildren surrounding me and say, I should have lasted 2 days longer, but Morgan Charrier, he is why I'm dying on Wednesday instead of Friday. That stupid bastard.
Vitor Petrino looking pretty svelte at heavyweight. Put on a whole bunch of weight.
Heavyweight's just so ass.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Austin Lane around much longer after this fight, but Vitor Petrino did what he was supposed to do, gets the first round submission. Even Tuco Tokos out here getting finishes Junior
Austin
Tafa.
Lane's one UFC win is Rebellis to Spain. And I cashed that bet, and God damn it, I love it.
I should get a piece of that because I told you who's training in Extreme Couture for that fight, and you
goddamn right. Oh well, they're gonna shoot doubles on that big boy, and they sure did.
They sure did.
Remember when you played in the NFL? Do that.
Yeah, do
3 times. That's all you need.
Chris Curtis wins a splitty against Max Griffin in his return to welterweight, his first UFC welterweight fight.
How'd you feel about that one?
I thought Chris won. I was okay with it.
Fine.
Jake Matthews just runs over Cheating Jokwani. Do you want to wax poetic about Jake
That's
Matthews?
Right, baby. Jake Matthews is back. I've been catching shit from all of you, and me and Shaheen Al-Shadi, we weren't wrong. We were early. This man is still 30 years old and on a 3-fight winning streak. As he pointed out in his post-fight, he gave Michael Morales a pretty good little scrap. Sure, the Matthew Simmelsberger loss, that
real
was
tough scenes.
That one stings, right? But like losing to Sean Brady is losing to Sean Brady. He might be the best welterweight in the world right now. You know, like that's whatever. He gave Michael Morales a good accounting of himself, and he's on a 3-fight win streak. 2026 is the year me and Shaheen Shadi will be all the way vindicated. Jake Matthews is going to be ranked in the top 10, not just in my top 10, but in like everybody's top 10. And Mackenzie Dern is going to fight for a world title. And all you people who have been like, you got to give these dreams up, screw you. I dreamed my dreams and they're coming true. Way to go, Jake Matthews, Celtic Kid. Let's do it.
I'll never forget June 12th, 2022. UFC 275 came to an end. We just watched the greatest, maybe the greatest fight in UFC history, the greatest title fight, the most insane title fight in UFC history. And we spent 20 minutes, you and Shaheen, talking about Jake Matthews no longer boy, Jake Matthews man.
Man.
To be top 10.
We were so convinced. Like, dude, he's 27 and he looked like prime Max, just boxing that dude's ears off. And then Matthew Simmelsberger like just was big. Like I still don't even know what happened. Like Simmelsberger was just a big dude and Jake Matthews imploded. It was like, well, shit, I don't know what the hell to do now.
And then, like, we do a fight later. How you beat Matthew Simmelsberger? You just tackle him.
Yeah, it was just so dumb. But he's back. We're back. Me and Shaheen, not wrong, just early.
Yes. Eduardo Mora gets the unanimous decision win over Lauren Murphy, who announced her retirement. Lauren Murphy almost pulls out the shocking Gilly finish in round 3. Had Mora in some trouble.
Shout out to Dingo, channel member Dingo.
Shout out to Dingo. Lauren Murphy calls it a career. I talked about her on the People's Pre-Fight Show. Fatima Klein, we mentioned the head kick. Mike Davis, lightweight, just continues to be fun.
Also, flying knee doesn't get a bonus. Tough scenes for Mike Davis. Yeah, that fight was quite enjoyable, too.
It really was. And shout out to Walter Walker, who did a number of things tonight. He got the win. He got his 3rd consecutive heel hook victory. And on top of that, Jed, he started a great trend. But you have to stop the drought to start a trend. And finally, for the first time since March, shout out to Waldo Cortez Acosta. We had a finish in a heavyweight fight, 54 seconds into round number 1. Another heel hook for Walter Walker, and he got an extra 50 G's. And all the heavyweight fights got stopped tonight. What a time. We've turned the corner, Jed. We've turned the corner. Jake Matthews is on a 3-fight win streak, and we're getting finishes in heavyweight fights.
It would have been a terrible week for heavyweight overs. Walter, like, I love when the sport does this. This is my absolute favorite part of MMA. I've been following this sport for 25 years. I don't know, at least 20 years. I don't know, probably closer to 25 than 20 years. And my favorite thing is when you do something like this for this long, it's just like, oh, great fighters come and go. They're always fun. It's exciting. Favorite thing is when super weird shit happens and like somebody does a thing that's odd. It's like Alexei Olenek is like the only dude to get Ezekiel chokes, and then he just rips off like 4 of them in the UFC, which is a thing that doesn't happen in like non-gi grappling almost ever. And he just made it his thing. And then like Walter Walker just being like, I'm just going to heel hook dudes. I'm a heavyweight. I'm simply going to drop. And not even like the heel hook on Kenny Nunchucks is genuinely like, they would tell you not to do that in any gym worth its salt. Cause he just full on commits to like, dive on this. Yeah. Like in a neutral position, like I'm going to go back and I got this. And like, it's almost like, it is genuinely almost a white belt level of confidence to try like an insane maneuver like that, except for he pulls it off. So it's obviously not a white belt. Like it's his trademark thing. And Lucas Bresky is the only dude who is just like, I'm not going to let him attack my feet and I'll win. And everybody else is like, I guess my knee's going to be torn up for 9 months now. And I lose to this dude. It's charming and hilarious, and I love it. I love super weird things like this.
Speaking of loving super weird things, let's talk to the people, because we're all super weird people and we're all in this together. So let's go to the super chatters. They get to the front of the line. Nick, can we get a little shout out for Herzog for stepping between those two slanging? That would be terrifying.
Genuinely thought it when they said Herzog was the ref, because it happens from time to time, but usually, and I don't know if they're actually intentionally doing this, but like I just usually notice it. I'm like, Jason Herzog is not the man that I would call in to referee a heavyweight contest. Like, God forbid a fighter decides to not stop, because we see that from time to time. Almost every time the fighter, when a referee intervenes, stops punching or stops the choke or whatever. But like, God forbid Derrick Lewis just decided to get a little bit crazy in his ass. Like, he would literally wear Jason Herzog like a backpack while he's beating the shit out of an unconscious Big Tex, like if that was what was happening. And so it's like, well, it feels like maybe Herb Dean should be the guy in those. And frankly, to this comment, like, I'm not trying to intercede between Derrick Lewis and a man he's about to punch in the face. That's not a location I'd like to be in. So shout out to you, Jason Herzog, even if that stoppage was not very good.
Yes. Jason Herzog was also the referee in the one. Was he the referee in the Wonderboy fight too?
I don't know. Hold on, I can tell you. That would be interesting, because that is super not common.
Back to backs?
That can't be right. No, Blake Grice. Blake Grice was the referee.
All right, which fight was he the ref in?
I can keep looking through, but
The Garcia. It was the Garcia. I think it was the Garcia Kattar fight.
It was Kattar Garcia who was the ref. Okay. So he got a little break. But I was like, they never do back to backs. Like old days when John McCarthy was literally the only ref, but other than that, it was never back to back.
My biggest takeaway, and the thing I'll remember most about Steve Garcia versus Calvin Kattar, has nothing to do with Steve Garcia and Calvin Kattar. It was that Jason Herzog's shoe was untied the entire fight. And I couldn't, once I noticed it, that's all I could watch the rest of the fight was him running around with his shoe untied. I'm just like, dude, you got to tie that shoe. If you got to dart in there and make a move, like, you got to be confident. You got to make a football move, son. Nick adds another couple bucks. Lewis KO's Tom, the Jones of the White House lawn. I mean, can't get more apple pie than that.
It would be incredibly funny.
It really would be.
Also, it would be terrible, because basically I live my life at this point just hoping John Jones will forget the internet exists and shut the fuck up. And God knows if that happens, he will not shut the fuck up, maybe ever again.
Steven, thank you. Are we seeing the long-term effects from the Max fight for Kattar? To me, even with the Giga win, he hasn't been the same since Max destroyed him.
I mean, yes, to some extent, but like, I don't think it's just the Max. I think he's been fighting for he's 37 years old, right? Like, he had a
lot of fight. He had over 20.
He had a lot of fights in his career. Like, he's close to 20 years in, because he started his professional career in
2007 was his first.
2007. So he is right on the cut. He is 18 years into a professional fist fighting career. Almost no human being that many years into a fist fighting career, especially at good weight classes. You can kind of really milk that cow for a long time at heavyweight, light heavyweight. At like a good weight class, 18 years is your Methuselah. You're 1,000 years old in fight years. And he in particular always had, because like stylistically, he took damage because he knew he could. And so he would take one to give one for a lot of his career. The Max fight didn't help him. God knows it didn't help him. But like, that's just, this is not one fight that changed his career in the same way that you occasionally see happen in the sport. I think this is just an accumulation of 20 years worth of getting beat up in the gym and in fist fights.
I think obviously that was a very key moment in this sort of downslide, but then again, he had the best performance of his career in the next fight.
He took a year off and just beat the shit out of Giga after that.
Giga, like he taught us everything about Giga Chikadze we need to know. Like, we knew from that point, okay, Giga's just going to be a top 15 guy at best, and that's okay. We're okay with that. I think the next two fights really started the downslide. The mental toll, I think the Josh Emmett loss took on him.
He took a lot. He took really a lot of shots in that one. I thought he won.
And he won.
Yeah, absolutely thought he won. But like that, honestly, I would be more inclined to believe that fight than the Max one because we haven't seen him be good since that fight. Josh Emmett just hits the souls out of people. Ask Bryce Mitchell, and he took a lot of cracks there. So like, I'd be more inclined to believe that. I'm still don't think it's any. I think it's all of them. It's not one of them. It's all of them.
And then I think the Arnold Allen one plays a heavy toll as well, because when you tear your knee and you rip your leg to shreds like that, kind of changes you. Kind of changes the way you move and the way you fight. It just makes you change a lot of stuff. You're focused on that stuff. So, yeah, the Sterling fight, I actually felt pretty good with the Calvin Kattar bet at UFC 300.
So did I, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
Especially with Calvin being such a great like takedown defender throughout his career, but Aljo just
couldn't have been more wrong.
The Zalal fight, like Zalal didn't like blow the doors off of him. He just kind of
Yusuf Zalal. He doesn't blow the doors off anyone.
But in the previous fights, he's such a perfect. I used him as a perfect example on the People's Pre-Fight Show of like the swings the sports takes, because Yusuf was in the UFC and he's fighting guys like Ilia Topuria, which like, that decision loss actually ages kind of well. And then he's gone. He goes on the regional scene and he comes back and gets a short notice opportunity, and he's just dusting dudes. He's getting them out of there quick. He's getting bonuses. He's fun. And we're loving that. And everyone's like, yeah, Yusuf Zalal's the guy. Can't wait to see him fight again. He might be a guy that should get Fighter of the Year nominations in 2024 for the year he had. What a comeback. And then he has this win over Calvin Kattar, which put him in the rankings, but I have not
inspire joy.
There has not been one Yusuf Zalal on to the next one suggestion from like anybody since that fight.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. And he was like mentioned in every show multiple times. Anytime there's a featherweight fight.
He's still better served than Laurel Murphy. So because he did have who did he choke out before he fought Calvin? Jack Shore.
Yeah. That was
but like Laurel Murphy needs to start playing golf so we can get on swing rounds with you, because he's cooked. Zalal, that was not like the most inspiring, but to Calvin Kattar, not tonight. Calvin Kattar usually is hard to look good against. That has not been the case for 2 of his last 3 fights because he's washed. But
yeah, everyday best bump and crump for Don J. Trump. There you go.
I don't know what bump and crump means because I'm old, I guess. But shout out everyday best.
Yeah. Let's go back up. A lot of comments. A lot of people pretty excited about what we saw. I'm not going to.
It's a really good fight card, man. Had a really fun time tonight.
Yeah, I especially coming off the boxing one where it was a little frustrating because the event
I had
was more
fun if they understood pacing at all, remotely, but
it was tough. Let's see. Left lane with UFC 318, of course. Watch party next week for Dustin Poirier's final fight. Any thoughts on the climb next week? Do you have any early entries? Any early favorites?
Let me take an early look. Let's go to our friends at Old FanDuel and take a look at what some odds are for next week.
Little Gautier action. Jump on my wild card.
I'm not going to be doing that. I mean, he's gonna win, but I don't want step 21 tied to a dude who's fought once in the UFC before. At least I don't think so. Oh no. I'll be pretty surprised if I'm not climbing with Daniel Zellhuber over Michael Johnson.
All right.
The only other one that, let me take a look here. What do we got? The other thing that just like would maybe jump out to me is, come on, give me an over-under on this goddamn fight. The over-under for Holloway Poirier is 4.5. It's -120. Maybe a alternate over, like a -1.5, -2.5, something like that. But I'm going to just go ahead and say it's pretty likely it's going to be Daniel Zellhuber against not fellow, because that would imply Zellhuber's washed. Similarly washed man, Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson's been looking pretty good lately, though. Turning back the old clockaroo. I'll go with this question for Joseph. Thoughts on Merab being the SB Fighter of the Year?
I think it's deserved, but incredibly stupid. And like when they have to explain on the broadcast, hey, so these Fighter of the Years are July to July, which is deeply unintuitive and pretty dumb. That's why Ilya's not on the board, because everybody thinks it should be Ilya, but that's why it's not. So it's Merab. Like, if you're having to explain the joke is bad. And so, given the context, yes, Merab got 3 wins, progressively impressive wins, right? Like, just choked Sean O'Malley, the Umar win, got the belt, like beat Sean O'Malley to get the belt clearly. Beat Umar, massive underdog, incredible performance, choked out Sean O'Malley. All that fell in the time zone. He was our fighter of the half year, which I believe came out this week. Pretty sure we did those awards this week. So like I get it, but it's when you on the broadcast have been like, Ilya Topuria wasn't eligible. Here's what was, don't come at us in the comments or whatever. It's like, oh, there's something fundamentally wrong if you're having to explain why people shouldn't be upset about this, even if you're right.
Was the UFC card better than Taylor Serrano?
Yes, definitely better. Taylor Serrano was a bit of a letdown because the main event was a bit of a letdown. The rest of the card was okay, right? Like there were,
I thought the rest of the card was fun.
There were some. It's hard for me to be that pumped about 2-minute rounds. There were parts of it that were frankly interesting, right? Like where it's just like I don't even know how to rate half of these rounds because they're over so quickly. And so that definitely put a bit of a tamper on it. There were some pretty good fights. The judging was really specious, which was tough. And then the main event, which had unrealistic expectations. Just it's hard to live up to what they have done twice before, right? Like possibly we have that in store for us this weekend, right? Max and Dustin, they create it is such an expectation that it's hard to live up to that. This one super didn't. Almost entirely Amanda Serrano's fault.
Agreed.
I don't have any idea what her decision to do was. Granted, she, got a draw on one scorecard and the fight still was very close, but like she pretty much single-handedly made it way less fun than the previous two. And I think also kneecapped her chances to win that fight. So weird. And like not the most satisfying conclusion to the biggest rivalry in the history of women's boxing, but where yesterday kicked and the worst part that mentioned it, pacing was just atrocious. There's no reason for that main event to have kicked off at like midnight or close to midnight. Like you just get them through, like, right. Like there's it's ludicrous, but whatever, neither here nor there. But where it was incredible, and full credit needs to be given to MVP and Matchroom and people who made all this together, whoever, all the constituent parts. It was a massive event. I know it didn't do like huge numbers of traffic for us. I have no idea. I haven't looked at any of the TV stuff that you can get out there for like views via Netflix. All the people in attendance, all of them that I have talked to said it felt enormous, that it felt like a party. The arena was clearly rocking. Like that came through the TV, and the spectacle, the pageantry, they promoted the shit out of that event. And for whatever your issues with Jake Paul, and God knows I have plenty of them, the man has been very positive for boxing in this way and promotes a hell of an event. So even if the action was not remotely as fun as what tonight's was, the event was bigger and more meaningful, and something that I may talk about in the future. I'm never going to talk about UFC Nashville again. The last time I'll talk about it is BTL this week, and then that's it. We'll never speak of it again. The Taylor Serrano 3, that's probably a thing that will get talked about at points in time because of how big it was.
Yeah, I would say like my biggest takeaway of it all, it was I did enjoy a lot of the fights as they were happening. The main event was stinky. It just wasn't, it was fine boxing, but Amanda Serrano trying to be a boxer was not all that compelling. It was basically, we got Israel Adesanya, Jared Cannonier for the third fight. That's what we got. Katie Taylor's like, oh, we're doing this. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I'll just take the victory. And I scored it the same way the two judges scored it for Taylor. But very few times when I'm working, like I'll cover like any fight week that my wonderful bosses would want to send me to. But if it were up to me, I would just do all the fight week stuff. And then I would come home and cover the actual fight night at my house. I am totally fine with that. I don't need to be in the arena. I've seen enough fights at this point. I like doing the fight week grind and then just being at home. Very few times I watch an event, I'm like, shit, I wish I was there. Last night, I felt like I was like, damn, I wish I was in the Garden last night. That would have been fun. A lot more fun than watching it on TV.
100%. Like I got a little bit of FOMO with all the people there, and it seemed mega, and that matters. Like even if an event doesn't deliver, and like, you know, people will probably write, and maybe not even incorrectly, about it would have been better if the main event delivered as another buoy to continue building the sort of movement they're doing with women's boxing. What matters more is that the event feels big, that it doesn't feel small, and it certainly did not feel small.
Yeah, it was loud as hell, even on the broadcast. We'll end here. Shout out to Will. I feel like this card shows what an actual venue can do to a card. Like Jed said, not a ton of stakes, but it made every fight feel like a big deal. Have a good night, gentlemen. Miss heck of a morning, Mike. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, it was just fun, man. Like, I love coming on these shows and being like, hey, that was a fun night of fights, and discussing how much fun we had. You think I like coming on here after a fucking Lerone Murphy headlined Apex card and like, wow, Lerone Murphy versus Josh Emmett, that was a fight that happened. There's nothing to talk about there. At least with this, it's just, we spoke 20 minutes just on Derrick Lewis post-fight stuff. That was amazing. It's fun. Like, we say it all the time. It's like cliche now, but MMA is supposed to be fun, and it's great when it's fun. When you have a great night and a great event and you talk about it, and you're like, this is on a Saturday night where I could have done anything else. I worked and watched the fights, and it was awesome. It was terrific.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to bang the drum forever on this because we do it all the time. I wrapped up Marco Mondi's book, Say Hello to the Bad Guy, or Bad Guys, this week. You know, recommend it. I learned a lot, as I'm not the most versed in professional wrestling, so I got to learn a few things. It was informative and good. One of the things he talks about in there, that I did know, at least to some extent, though it maybe got put a little more clearly to me, is how much wrestlers do, how active they are, that they are on the road like 300 days a year, you know, and I've learned that in recent years, but like originally I was just like, I don't know, they do a pay-per-view once a month and they wrestle every Monday on Raw. So like they work, you know, I'm sure they're in the gym and they're doing house shows and they're going everywhere and they're doing those things. Like, as Mark puts it in the book, I'm paraphrasing because I'm certainly not quoting this. It's like, you know, like, yeah, they go to do the television show on Monday, but that has to happen in a bigger city. It has to happen in a city like Atlanta, but because they can't really do a TV taping in some smaller show, like in some smaller area, like Sarasota or Savannah or whatever. And so they do the house shows there, and that way they can build the product. More people can attend. More people can get interested in what they're doing. Crowds and traveling events, that's how you build a product. That's how you generate and keep interest among a wide dispersion of people. Cirque du Soleil doesn't just set up shop and then do a broadcast every Thursday from a gym in southern France or whatever. The apex is not what a company does when they are trying to grow their brand. The apex is what happens when a company has reached maximum, or at least has reached a level of FU, we don't care. This is us filling a contract. And so it will no event at the apex with 10 people doing anything. And frankly, this is going to be true of the White House. I mentioned this on BTL this week. And after I said that, Dana came out and said, yeah, we're not selling tickets. It's going to be a comped event. That event's going to have a couple hundred people at it. They're all going to be dignitaries and politicians and influencers. And there's going to be no energy on the White House lawn for whatever spectacle thing this is, because these people aren't fans. Like, I would take this comment even a step further, Mike. It's not just about having events for fans. This is a thing that you're starting to hear in bigger sports than MMA as well, for big events, for playoff Knicks basketball games or whatever. You're pricing the real fans out because tickets are like $800 for bleeders. And so that's not even what you want. You want to be creating an energy, and that comes from the diehard hardcore fans. And most of those people can't afford $500 tickets every week or whatever. And so, yeah, It's a much better thing when they're on the road, and it would even still be much better if the ticket prices. I didn't look for this week, so I don't know.
They're pretty reasonable.
Were they great? Because the
Like
Atlanta
100
ticket
and some
prices
bucks
were
for
still
the
pretty
waiter.
up there.
Yeah,
so
it's like 100. I think I saw some people post it was like 125 bucks. That's great.
That's awesome. You can make that, and then that maybe was why the arena was so lively. And yes, it makes a huge difference. If the UFC was still trying to grow their brand, they would be on the road constantly. They are still on the road because they still generate money by going on the road, but they can also generate money in this other way. And so those will always just not feel the same. I promise y'all, New Orleans is going to be losing its shit for Dustin Poirier's retirement fight. That place is going to be like a freaking atom bomb was dropped in it. And it's going to be awesome as hell. I can't wait.
I'm very excited. I know it's not like the best card in the
I
world.
don't even like that card, but I'm excited for that. I'm excited for what that means.
Yeah. Dustin's got to get put over like Rover. It's got to be all about him this week. I mean, if you watch any of the interviews I've done over the last couple months, I've literally, the only fighter I did not get a chance to ask about Dustin Poirier was Kattar France, but literally everybody that I've interviewed over the last 2 months, ever since this fight was announced, I asked every single fighter about Dustin Poirier, favorite moments, etc. So we'll have like a little video of like all the fighters reacting to Dustin's retirement, what he meant to them as fans of the sport, not just competitors, and it's just really good stuff. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to being back tomorrow morning for a special edition of On to the Next One, where I will be riding solo. No AK. He has the day off. He's going to take the actual day off. So I will roll solo. So if you got matchmaking suggestions, send them my way. We're going to barrel through them in the morning. So shout out to all of the future matchmakers out there. And you know what that music means? We are done. Wrapped a very busy weekend in the combat sports world. Not only do we have the UFC next week, we got Alexander Usyk fighting next week. We got PFL next week, PFL Africa. We get Dakota Ditcheva.
So much happening next week.
Dakota Ditcheva's fighting. We got Johnny Eblen fighting. Corey Anderson's fighting. AJ McKee's fighting. 2 p.m. Eastern, main card for that. So if you are like a hardcore MMA fan, you got to watch it all. Saturday is going to be a very busy day for you. So get multiple TVs, multiple computer screens, lots of combat sports action. We will have, of course, boots on the ground in New Orleans with our own Jose Youngs, our road warrior. He'll be hitting the road, and we'll have all sorts of coverage and all the fun stuff we typically do for fight weeks, including the watch party right here at the castle. Here
also, I don't know if they've broken. I don't know if they've said it or not. I'm on Morning Combat Wednesday for their pregame preview. So the boys have graciously invited me back. Gonna go have some fun with those DJs. So full week as we all get ready to celebrate the end of Dustin Poirier.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Love y'all.